Hello and welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun. This is Matthew speaking, and you are currently watching Hitman 2, not Hitman Season 2, as the chap demonstrating this to us at Gamescom kept accidentally calling it. We're playing the Miami level, which we saw at E3, but this is the whole level, so before we could only play half of it. This time we can play the whole thing, which means there are two targets. There are the two Knoxes. There's the racer, Sierra Knox, and her dad, Robert Knox. Previously we could only take out Sierra in quite limited ways, but now we have the full level to play. We can do the whole thing. I'm actually going to be doing the opportunities. I only had about half an hour with the game, so I really wanted to kind of get through and see some good stuff, so I decided to follow the opportunity paths. The first one I'm doing, which is what we just saw in the menu, is called the Triumph, which is we're going to try and kill Sierra Knox on the winner's podium. She's a race driver in this Miami racetrack, so first of all we've got to get her onto the podium. We're also going to demonstrate a couple of the new features as we go through. The first thing to point out is this big circle around Agent 47's feet. This is the new kind of blending into the social sort of stealth, a bit like Assassin's Creed. You just enter a crowd and then you're naturally more hidden, which means you can get to places you couldn't previously go, and your costumes, they can't be seen through by other guards. It also means you can hear all the inane chatter of the crowds, which is pretty spectacular. As always, IO are so good at all those crazy little details. Here is the racetrack. The race is kind of going on in the background, so there's lots of different ways you can do this. If you actually saw our video from E3, you'll know that you can try and assassinate her on the racetrack itself. You can try and snipe out Sierra as she's driving around, or you can place a bomb on her car when she's in the pit stop and then blow it up on the tracks. But I wanted to see some stuff that was kind of elsewhere in the level. Here's another new feature. They've actually now let you see where security cameras can see. So when you go into the sort of instincts mode, you can see this grid on the floor. You can also see directly in the top left corner what the camera can actually see. It was always a bit vague in Hitman Season 1. Like a cat would just say, "Oh, camera has recorded you," but now you can see what it shot, what it actually saw. If you have a weapon, it'll tell you, "Oh, you've been seen." You know, it's just a bit clearer. The rules are a bit clearer. Here's a man in a flamingo costume, because this is Miami and stuff like that happens. That's another opportunity unfolding there. I think we can steal the costume and try to do some evil flamingo-based shenanigans. I know some people have mixed feelings about the opportunities. You know, it kind of holds your hand a bit too much. I mean, obviously you can choose just to ignore them, go into the level and treat it as this big sandbox. For my money, I thought it was quite a nice way to kind of teach people who maybe haven't played Hitman before, kind of how the Hitman world works, the routes you can take through it. You know, if you were slightly more kind of casual in your approach, it meant you could see some really big cinematic exciting kills, and then there's hundreds of other ways you can do it. So here we found these two chaps who are talking about the pyrotechnics around the winner's podium. Let's see what they've got to say.
Couldn't fry everyone on stage if the pressure gets too high.
What runner asked me to test it?
If he asks, just tell him I've got it under control. Whatever you do, don't touch the setup.
Ooh. So another little thing we've got here in the top left is the sort of window in window, which shows you kind of salient points as they're mentioned in the world. So in this opportunity, we have to dress up as one of the race marshals. So that pops up just to say, this is what a race marshal looks like. Again, it's kind of an even more hand-holdy version of what we had before. If that's not your deal, don't engage with the opportunity system. We'll just see the camera in action here. This is a slightly better use of the mode to see where the camera can, what the camera is filming, because it means you can actually kind of creep around the grid and stay out of the camera. Because this camera's got a white dot above it, that means you're in a trespassing area. If it sees you, you'll be in trouble. So avoid. Very Metal Gear Solid, that. Why is it they always have these very handy blind points underneath the camera? It's a huge design flaw in these games. So the race marshals are up in this booth watching the race. We obviously want one of their costumes. Just in case you haven't played Hitman, the white dot means if that person sees you, you'll be in trouble, you're currently trespassing. But if I put on his costume, a lot of those white dots will vanish because now I'm dressed to kind of be in this area. It's best to subdue non-lethally. You get kind of rewarded or rated at the end of a level based on how lethally you play. I'm a very non-lethal player, he said. I think, oh actually no, I do something horrible in a couple of minutes. As always, dispose of the bodies. Again, as you'll see in a couple of minutes, I learned this the hard way. Normally, I play Hitman very slowly, really drink it in, take my time. Here, I was having to do it at speed, so there are some sloppy stuff. So even though I've got this costume, this guy's got the same costume, he's got a white dot above his head, that means he will see through the disguise, in case you're wondering why he's still got the white dot. That was in previous Hitmans as well. Hitmans? Hitmans. I attempted the old classic here of distract with the coin, but I forgot that there's some chaps inside this garage on my right, and they also like the sound of coins falling. Everyone's got amazing hearing in this game. Yeah, so he heard the coin, but he wasn't interested. This guy comes and steals my coin. You scumbag. So I'll jump back in here. I've basically snuck into this garage. I've creeped around the two chaps in here. I decided to go with a fire axe, basically because I couldn't find anything better to get rid of this chap up here. But as this is only a demo, I thought it would be okay to get a bit sloppy with it. Let's make sure no one's following me. That's the stuff. Subtle, it ain't. So now I'm up here as the race marshal. I can blend in and perform the race marshal action. What I'm actually trying to do here is get Sierra Knox onto the winner's podium, and to do that I need to disqualify the person she's currently losing to, which is Moses Lee. So it's just a case of waiting them to come around. This race is sort of fully simulated, so they're constantly going around and around and around, which is why you can assassinate her if you want. But that did the trick. What I've done there is disqualify him, so now Sierra Knox will gradually make her way up to the winner's podium, so I've got a little bit of time to sabotage that. Yeah, like I said, these opportunities are the sort of big scripted kills, but they're quite good fun. Yeah, so the window at the top just shows us Sierra coming off the track, getting ready. It's just to kind of give you a bit more information about what's going on in the levels. You know, they're these giant, sort of almost clockwork devices. Everyone's moving in tandem and lots of things are happening in different places. In the previous game, you didn't really have any idea of what anyone was up to. You can use the instincts to kind of track people. You can see your targets in instinct modes, which you'll see in a second. But this is a slightly cleaner way of showing. And it's not as substantial as maybe I thought it was going to be. But it's quite a nice little touch. So here I'm trying to find a wrench, but I end up subduing some people. I thought I'd steal the event crew costume so that I don't get busted inside this party, because not everyone's welcome everywhere. Classic Hitman goof here. Whoops. So the bodies pile up. I love the props in this game. Look at that sushi in that cabinet. Looks delicious. All the fake brands and everything. Oh, it's such a complete world. I absolutely love the Hitman stuff. It's so much fun. This is the wrench we need to adjust the gas pressure, which is going to spoil things for Sierra up on the winner's podium. So there's almost a sort of a tiny puzzle here in that we have to work out which of these valves to adjust in order to mess with her, because we can only fix one. So you can go into the sort of instincts mode and use that to follow the pipes, which is kind of a fun little puzzle. Is it a puzzle? I mean, it's an extra little thing to take into consideration. Yeah, it's the one in the middle we want, because that's under the podium. Yeah, it's not rocket science. The witness, it ain't. I should probably note we are playing on Xbox One. They didn't have the PC build there, which is why you can see all the Xbox queues. We'll obviously play it on PC when it comes out on PC, but just in case you're wondering. Now I've adjusted the pressure. That basically has set up the kill. Sierra is going to die when she goes onto the podium, so now it's just a case of going to watch all my handiwork play out, which is easier said than done, because as I mentioned before, I got a tiny bit sloppy playing this. I've left a lot more bodies where there shouldn't be bodies. I could go across this racetrack and stand on the other side and watch, but I was a bit worried that I wasn't going to have time, so I came up here instead, because the podium is just here. So I thought I'd get a nice little view of what was going on. See that red person walking? So that's an indicator of where the targets are at. I also love that there's a brand in the world called Thwack, which is about as Hitman as you can get. Whatever Thwack is, I would definitely use it. So actually, here's the other target down here, Robert Knox. Unfortunately, he spots me up here, and he spots the dead body. He says, "Are you asleep?" and then decides to come and investigate, so I've actually really messed up here. One little thing, it's a tiny little feature. As I walk down these stairs, his bodyguard begins to recognise me because he's got this white dot above his head. What I actually do is turn away from him towards the wall, which actually slows down the rate that he can recognise me, because if you're facing away from someone, they can't see you as well. That's a new feature added for Season 2. It's a very tiny AI tweak, but it's quite a cute little addition. So I thought I'd run away in here. This is actually where we're going to pick up the second opportunity to get rid of Robert. Yeah, so the opportunity is revealing itself because I've gone near the car in here. This is like a showroom, so if you've got the racetrack, which is kind of Sierra's area, and then you've got this area, which is Kronstadt Industries. It's kind of like a sort of science showroom. He's showing off all his new racing technology. Yeah, so I'm going to do this turbocharged opportunity, which basically involves messing with his car. Only Robert is allowed to fix the car because he's kind of a control freak, so I'm going to sabotage his car and get him to come and play with that. But before I do that, I'm going to go and try and watch Sierra blow up, because I feel like I worked quite hard to sabotage the winner's podium. So I want to see the fruits of my labour, the explosive fruits. So we're making it back out here. Unfortunately, I've got to wait for the security guard to get out of the way. So we can begin to see the kill playing out in the top left again. Sierra's up on the podium. So that's one of the good things about the window and window. It means you don't necessarily miss the things you've set up, as I sort of do in this case. Yeah, so I actually just missed her getting blown up. That's her flying around in the top, which was really annoying. I apologise about that, but I'm going to make it up for you. But I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a really good takedown of Robert, and then I'm actually going to show you a bonus kill after that. So I am sorry that Sierra, my plans got messed up. This is the dangers of playing these things in a very short time at Gamescom. One thing I should also point out, I don't know if you know this, that all these little extra additions, like the new security camera grid, the AI where you look away, the social stealth where you hide in the crowds, these are all features that are new to Hitman 2, but they are kind of being retroactively added to all the missions from Hitman 1, Season 1 that is. So if you own that, you can go back into those levels and all these mechanics have been added. So here I'm actually getting like a little vial of explosive stuff, which is the scientific term, to put into the car engine. But yes, so going back to the Hitman 1 thing, you can play those levels again, which is cool with these new things. Some of them actually seem to have changed, so like Hitman, Agent 47 can hide in vegetation, so they've added some more vegetation to like the Colorado level. It looks a lot more kind of bushy now, but we'll check those out a bit later when the game comes out. We'll go back and investigate and see what's been done. So here we need to find a screwdriver in order to sabotage the car and draw Robert out. Again, I'm just following the opportunity markers. I really recommend that you don't do that when you play. Like, it's just a lot more fun to go in and tinker around and try and work out your own kind of route and your own logic. Like, you don't have to use that screwdriver, you can find another one. But for the sake of time, let's do this. So in here we can quickly steal the screwdriver. And now we also need to disguise as a Kronstadt engineer, which is all just about finding the right costumes. There are loads of them about. Keep getting zapped by these security cameras, but it's not a problem because I'm allowed to be here. These chaps in grey are the engineers we need to take down. We only need one of them, but there's two here. So we do a little bit of, well, I say sloppy. It looked quite good when I take them both down, but you'll see in a sec. For the sake of time, I'm going to go a bit messy with this one. Bonk. And grab him. It's really weird, like, how powerful you are as a hitman in this game. You've got all these amazing powers, but then the game does kind of judge you quite severely if you choose to kind of go in aggressively and knock loads of people out and leave loads of bodies. You know, you are rewarded for playing kind of as quietly and without using any of this big fun stuff. It's the old Dishonored dilemma, I guess, of like the kind of the bigger and flashier the powers are, the kind of more you're punished for using them. But for the sake of a Gamescom demo, where there are no real consequences, what the hell, why not? So now I have the screwdriver, I have the costume, I can come and set up this this particular kill. Lovely, lovely set design. It's just so stylish, isn't it?
Good. I dare say this should get Knox's undivided attention.
So it just takes a few minutes for Knox to turn up here. This sort of triggers a little story cutscene where this chap comes and digs around in the car. There's some other fun stuff in this room that kind of hints at some of the other stuff you can do, and I'll show you a little bonus kill at the end of the video as well. So one of the things that Kronstadt's building are these androids. Here it says they're medical instruments, and they can see. So everything the android sees is projected up onto the screen in terrifying blur vision. Just checking myself out. Why not? But that android, he plays quite a key role in one of the other opportunities. Where, well, I won't spoil it for you. We'll check it out in a second. So here he is. He's turned up. Robert's going to start playing around with the car. He asked me to get in and start helping him. It reminds me a bit of the ejection seat kill in the tutorial of the first season of Hitman 1. I'll just let you watch this because I thought this was a really well choreographed scene.
Try the engine, Smith. All right, try it now. This should work. Ah, here we are. Just a loose wire back there. Just reattach it. Good. Hit it, Smith.
Smash! Down he goes. I just love the revving of the engine. It sounds really evil, like something really bad is going to happen. Unfortunately, I botched it here. This was during my escape. I got spotted. I thought I was fine. You know, I thought I could blend in, but they'd obviously already kind of cottoned onto me when I entered into the crowds, because they go into arrest mode. What actually happens here is I get shot to death quite quickly when I leave the building. This was a very sloppy attempt to leave. So what we're going to do is cut to a second kill where I quickly pop back in to try and take down Robert Knox. So yeah, let's see how that went. So here is another way we can take down Robert Knox. This is called the New Army, and we're trying to get Ted Mendez here, who is a military contractor type, who is coming to meet with Robert for a demonstration of a secret technology. So we'll quickly get this guy out of the way, and then quickly jump into some of the juicy stuff. We're going to steal his costume, because well, that's what you do. And now we're going to get rid of his body in the wood chipper, which was something that happened in Hitman 1 as well, but it's so brilliantly unpleasant that I had to see it again. Oh, yeah. That's not very nice. Actually, killing unpleasant people in Miami, it made me think of the excellent show Dexter. Well, I say the excellent show, I mean the excellent seasons of Dexter, which are, of course, 1, 2, and 4. The rest of it, not so much. There's a bit of wandering around, so let's jump into the building and get to the good stuff. So this whole takedown kind of revolves around a case of mistaken identity. I have to steal a photo which has got a picture of Robert Knox on it, and then we are going to go to a demonstration where he shows off how his android does and doesn't detect targets based on facial recognition. I'm sure you can imagine what happens here. It's a really good scene. I'm going to sit back and watch this with you.
Nobody wants to exchange their children and loved ones for flags and medals anymore. The glory is gone, Ted. But, luckily, Kronstadt has a solution for that. Imagine this. Android infiltrators operating in the field, disguised and fully embedded, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Indestructible robotic operators who can infiltrate the deepest sanctuary of any adversary, striking an unseen fatal blow. A surgical tool for a blunt world. Imagine an army of them, built with the most advanced AI and facial recognition features. Palace will never take the life of a non-sanctioned target. And I'll prove that to you right now. All right, Mendez, it's very straightforward. Let me show you. I just pick any of the pictures on the desk, then I use the scanner to upload the biometric data, and Palace will do the rest. Obviously, the final system won't rely on you manually feeding it biometric data. This is still a prototype. This is a pivotal moment in modern conflict solution, Ted. Palace is entirely foolproof. All you need is to pick a Holy shit! Damn it! Yeah, shit. I guess.
And just like that, he was murdered horribly by his own robot. The irony. And that's a second kill in Hitman 2. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and just a little idea of some of the things you can get up to in Miami. There's obviously loads more to see, and I really can't wait to dig into this when it comes out on November the 13th on PC. Unlike Hitman Season 1, this is releasing as a big old batch, so all 6 episodes will be released at once. It's a kind of complete game. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more on Hitman, please do subscribe to Rock Paper Shotgun. If you have any questions about what you've seen in this, do pop them in the comments, and I will try my best to answer them. There's loads of other good stuff on the channel. We've got another Hitman video, which you can see the little link to here. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully see you soon. Bye for now.